Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Overlap Podcast, where we discuss and study the overlaps between work, fitness, family, faith, parenting, and leadership, with the idea that becoming better in one aspect of your life helps you become better in all aspects of life. And we're doing this all with the idea of simplifying big business brilliance for small business leaders and really using business as kind of like the go-to to begin discussions about how there's overlaps in every aspect of your life. And most of us have a job and most of us have some sort of business interest, but seeing how we're not really compartmentalizing our life. If we become better leaders, we become better parents. If we want to be better leaders and better, better at our jobs, we might want to start with ourselves. And some of that is like, our personal physical fitness and our mental health. And really that comes down to, personal discipline. And that sort of flows over into your work life, but then it also pays dividends in every other aspect of your life. And so we're on episode 138. We've got I think a pretty good topic that we have not really touched on in 137 episodes. I don't believe so. I was kind of looking back a little bit, and I don't think we did.
No, I don't think so either. I think this topic also can be misunderstood a lot of times in small business.
I think so too.
Because
and relationships.
Yeah, and just from the aspect of, if you had told me 2 years into my business, hey, you just need to do this, I would have said, how in the world can I? I'm trying to pay bills.
Yeah.
I'm trying to build something.
Yeah.
I don't have time for that,
nor
the resources to do it. So what is the topic today?
The topic today is being detached and the benefits of detachment.
And we're going to talk about an experience Sid just had. And when you hear how he detached, I want you to understand that you can also detach in simpler ways, in cheaper ways, in ways that doesn't require you to go across water.
Yeah, well, I think that's a blanket statement on anything that we say in this podcast. If Keith or I do it, there's probably a cheaper way.
Definitely so.
There's probably a cheaper way. It's probably going to be more efficient. And you'll probably get to the end result way faster and with way less money.
Yeah, because I think as you hear on this podcast, we talk about the mishaps that we have daily and how we've just persisted.
Oh my God. Okay. So, detachment, right? Well, and I've got several sort of ideas behind this, but number one, this topic comes from me being out of the country for about a week, not like terribly long, and I was really pretty detached. Cell service was relatively let's just say spotty at best. Email spotty at best. Internet, obviously. So, I just wasn't really, I wasn't like, in the middle of the fire, right?
Connected.
Fully connected, thank you. And so I got a chance to really see as emails would come in and especially once I got back, I could see things that seemed silly to me. Not silly, not like, oh, people are being silly, but just like, oh, that's not, on the level of, is this a big deal or a small deal? It was not that big of a deal. And so got me thinking about detachment and thought that'd be a pretty good topic for us to discuss.
Yeah, I think that's good.
All right.
Going back to big deal or small deal, I think most deals that we make.
Yeah.
Most of the thoughts are the things that we go into thinking are catastrophic. You turn around a year later or 6 months later or maybe 2 days later and look back and say, that wasn't that big of a deal.
Yeah. Man, I had
I think you can only do that when you're detached.
Yeah.
You can only see that.
I think that question itself is a detachment question. Is this a big deal or a small deal?
Right.
Man, I am asking that question a lot usually. And I actually got that from a friend in a former peer group that I was a part of. And he said it. He asked me this one time. That's all he did, and it hit me so hard that I was like, "Oh my God, that's brilliant." I didn't even care what I was. And to be honest, I don't even know what the topic was, what the issue was. But it never left me. I was like, "Oh, that's good. Is this a big deal or a small deal?" And I'm asking people that all the time. I'm asking myself that all the time. I'm asking my wife that all the time. I'm asking my kids that all the time. Is this a big deal or a small deal? And it forces me to answer that and put it in a category. So, detachment. You got any experience with detachment?
I do.
You're about to have some here in a little bit.
I am. Yeah.
But what's your experience?
So, I think it's absolutely necessary to be able to put life in perspective. A lot of times, especially when we're young, and when I say young, either young in years or young.
As old as we are. Young is could be 30.
Yeah, I mean, or it could be 47 if you're just starting a business. Young in business means, so everything when you're young and when you're young in business is a big deal.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
You make it a big deal.
Well,
this is a big deal.
And it might be. I don't know.
Yeah, but very few things in life, after I've been in business 20 years, I look back, very few of those mishaps or things I made a big deal changed the course or trajectory of my life. Right? So I think that would be, and it's in the moments, and this is where I have a problem when people say, "Oh, you just need to take a break."
Okay.
Say, "Oh, you just need to take a break," when I'm just trying to pay the mortgage.
Dude, man, I'm glad you're landing it there, because when you're young, you're new.
Yep.
Whatever.
Or
you're pretty hand to mouth, you know? So customer doesn't pay, that's a big deal.
Bro, when you hire your first new employees and you have to write that first payroll check and you're thinking, whew, how am I going to make this?
I mean, that's a big deal.
That's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
But I think even then, it's good to take a moment and think a day and think.
Yeah.
Now what? Where do I go?
Business is a thinking sport.
Right.
Yeah. So where do you go? Sorry, I cut in.
So I think it's important to take that time and take a half day or a day and just think to yourself, where do we go from here?
Okay.
And I don't think we can see it when we're in the middle of writing the check.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So in business, everyone's heard of working on your business, not in your business, occasionally, right?
Yeah. On this podcast, like every day, every time they listen.
Yeah, probably. Working on your business, not in your business. If you've listened to the early episodes of this podcast, you'll know that comes from Michael Gerber, who is the author of the E-Myth and all the other E-Myths that sort of spun off of it. There's like the E-Myth Remastered. There's E-Myth for contractors. There's E-Myth for lawyers even, which I found that odd. But so working on your business, not in your business, is a form of detachment. So if we're sort of melding these things and kind of helping you bridge the gap on, hey, Sid, Keith, I hear you saying you need to be detached. What are you really talking about there? Well, partly, there's lots to this, so let's take it one by one. Partly, we're saying you probably, if it's business, you need to work on your business, not in your business. So in my business, I may have certain roles. Let's say part of my role is sales, right? The lead comes in, someone calls, I'm answering that phone, I'm going to see the lead, I'm going to give them a proposal for whatever type of work that I'm selling or whatever product I have. I'm getting them to buy. So in the sales game, that's putting gas in the tank, right? So the engine can run. Maybe I'm not a part of operations, but I've got to get everything together and get that to the operations people. Then I've got to oversee that because I'm in another seat, which is, quality control, whatever. I'm making sure that the customer gets what they need. I'm doing a lot of things. Maybe I got to do the billing. Maybe I got to do bookkeeping. Maybe I've got to do the payroll. Those are functions working in the business. Working on the business is detaching once a month, perhaps, and looking at financial records, like pulling a P&L. Okay. How are we performing? This is a little bit of a snapshot, just seeing what is our productivity? What, are we making the margins that we're looking for? What are the margins? Maybe I need to do a little search and see what margins are for my type of industry. Maybe I've got to set some targets and start working towards those and being able to ask questions. Maybe I've got to develop lead measures or goals to get me to where I'm trying to go. I probably also need to pull a balance sheet. So now I know where so if looks like we're making money on paper in a P&L, are we actually converting that to cash? And where is that cash now? Are we bringing in more cash than what we owe people? What is our debt to income ratio and all that stuff? Maybe I don't know any of this. That's great. I've got to start asking some questions. Maybe I got to start Googling. Maybe I got to do an online course. I don't know. But that would be working on my business, not in my business. Fair?
Right.
I think we did a little bit of that today, and we go, "Oh, look at this!
Yep.
Oh my goodness! Didn't even realize that.
We didn't even know the progress we had made. Quite frankly,
had not. We had not,
and we were like, "Oh my God!
Yeah,
that's up.
Yeah,
300%.
Yeah, 1,357%.
Yeah, like that's
if anyone's counting.
And we've had like L10s, and we didn't celebrate that at all in a headline somewhere.
Yeah. Well, we haven't been looking.
Yeah,
we haven't been we've been working in our business, not on our business.
Right. But I will say that on your business, not in your business, used to piss me off. Oh, like when I was early. Yeah.
Oh, me too. Because I thought it was cliche, and I thought it was trite. I thought it was like, oh, that's just. I felt like that was an adult patting me on the head.
Yeah, saying, "Hey, little boy, one day you'll get to."
Yeah, I'm like, but no, there's actually truth to it.
There's truth to it,
and really, it's a form of detachment.
Well, and I think you did a lot better at this early on in your business than I did, because I've heard you talk about before how you used to, like when you first started your landscape business, you would go cut grass during the week.
Oh, yeah.
And then you would compartmentalize and say, okay, now the weekends are for this.
Yeah.
And so maybe you have to do that in your business. You have to compartmentalize and say, okay, I'm going to be the janitor. I'm going to be the worker. I'm going to be the installer. I'm going to do this Monday through Wednesday. Thursday, Friday, I do this.
Yeah. I did start developing little systems, like I would meet the crew at this time. I would go out onto the jobs and help them until this time. And then I would go meet customers at this time. I would get home and see family and kids and everything. And then I would get started on designs at night at this time. I would wake up and do it all over again. Saturday was for this. Sunday was for billing. All of that. But that was all working in the business anyways, though. I had to learn to step away and go, hey, once a month I need to be looking at this. Once a week I need to be looking at this. Once a quarter I need to be looking at that. So when I got to the end of the year, it would equal this, which was what I was looking for.
So don't think that we're living in this fairy tale land where we're telling you, "I'll just hire those people." We're not telling you that at all.
That's a great point.
Sometimes you need to be the guy.
Lots of times you need to be the guy. I'll say this, though. If you're running full out as hard as you can, that's not good enough. If you're working super hard, that's really the picture I'm trying to paint. And let me paint a picture for you. You are running as hard as you can in a direction you think is the right direction. If you don't stop every once in a while and look around or pull out your compass or look at a map, you could be running in the completely wrong direction. And it won't matter how hard you're working, you're not going to get to where you're trying to go. You may not even know where you're trying to go. It might be really helpful to take a little bit of time. Maybe that's a Saturday morning before everyone wakes up. Maybe that's a Sunday morning before everyone wakes up. Maybe it's at night, maybe you're a night person and it's when everyone goes to bed. because most people have families and most people have like those kind of obligations, and that's a good thing. I say this all the time. We work to live, not live to work. But if you are working really hard, it's probably even more important to make sure that you're moving in a direction that's advantageous. Because I've seen it a lot, man. People will run full out as hard as they can in the wrong direction.
And I can tell you from absolute experience and from the years of mistakes, I called myself super busy and I was just disorganized.
And everyone does that as a badge of honor.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's ego inflating to say, God, how are you? Oh, super busy. And we're a busy culture. If you go to other cultures, if you go to other places, they're not wound up being busy.
And what I think you mean by the wrong direction, we're not saying that your business is going in the wrong direction. But what I am saying is if you call yourself working 65 hours a week and 15 of those hours are on stuff that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You're not as busy as you think.
You could be providing 5 services to the market, right? 2 of them, which would be 40% of your offerings, don't make any money. What would happen if you just stopped, you wouldn't know that if you didn't job cost or do some sort of like analysis, So you could make way more money with the time that you have because everyone only has this amount of time. Some people can work more, some people can work less, but, working 80 hours a week is not sustainable. So don't use that as a business plan. You can use that as a get things off the ground plan. I like this image, and we'll come back to my point. But if you're going to get a business off the ground, it's like getting a rocket off the ground, right? It's going to take way more thrust to get it to start to break gravity and then get it up in the air and then get it through the atmosphere. But once I'm through that, it doesn't take as much. That's why it drops that big, fuselage off of there because it doesn't need to burn all that. Either way, you're going to have to work a lot to get something off the ground. So don't take this as that. And we've said that a couple of times. But make damn sure what you're doing is the right stuff. Make sure what you're doing is actually going to generate income. Make sure what you're doing and what you're providing is what the customer wants. Make sure that this is the life that you're looking for. People, there's so many overlaps, it's crazy. Some people think that the only thing that's going to get me to where I'm trying to go is to be a manager of people. Never mind, I'm the best salesperson that we've got. I do it naturally and I'm good at it. If I just focused on that, I would be really good at sales. I'm not driven or, necessarily gifted to manage and organize people because I'm not that organized, but I'm gifted to connect with other people and understand, get them to communicate with me what the problem is. And I've got so much experience with what I'm doing. I know what a solution is for them. I can package it up and give it to them. And they trust that I know what I'm doing and I make the sale. But I think I need to be doing this. It's a terrible idea, but I don't stop long enough to think about it. There's so many overlaps of running in the wrong direction because I never stop and get detached enough to think, what do I really want out of life? What I want out of this business, what I want out of this relationship. And you don't get anywhere near that without at least a little bit getting detached, stepping back and going, what do I want? What is what I'm doing going to get me what I want?
Sid, you say numbers are the language of business. We probably should take care of business.
Listen up. Look, not all of you have to deal with workman's comp, but those of you that do know that it's time-consuming and it's a headache. Insurance in general feels like something that happens to you rather than for you. But partnering with someone that really knows their stuff, like Chris May, with LTN Insurance, you've heard him before on the podcast, offers you the opportunity to regain control of your insurance. By collaborating with Chris, you have the chance to craft a personalized plan that ensures you receive optimal coverage at the best price. At LTN Insurance, their foremost core value is centered on education rather than sales. Their core value actually says, we don't sell, we educate, because they truly believe in empowering you, the customer, with the knowledge to make informed decisions about your insurance. That's whether you do business with them or not. They want you to be informed. So you can trust Chris and look him up, give him a call, or go to the website, ltninsurance.com.
Hey guys, I want to tell you about one of our newest sponsors, Red Branch Outdoor Living. They create environments to bring people together by providing a turnkey solution for outdoor living with remarkable customer experience. They specialize in outdoor kitchens, pavilions, patios, pools, spas, and fire features. And they do it with integrity, innovation, and being remarkable. They did my outdoor space, and it turned out amazing. Check them out at redbranchconstruction.com. Tucker Carlson was on a podcast this week, and I was listening to it. And he made this statement, and I thought it was a really great idea. He said, there's very few issues in my life, in my business, in what I do, that cannot be fixed with a 45-minute walk.
Oh, yeah, I've heard him talk about, man, he goes in to talk about other people that take walks.
Yeah.
In history.
And so that's detachment.
That is detachment.
And then I love this. I love what he talked about marriage. He said, and if it's a big problem in my marriage, we book a hotel room, we get butt naked, and we stay there all day till the issue's fixed. I thought that was pretty good, too.
I was just thinking of my problems. I don't know that's... I mean, sign me up, but, you know.
I want to try. I was like, Stephanie,
yeah,
we need to try this the next time we disagree.
Yeah, my spouse is not going to be down with that. But
No.
He
must have a much more understanding spouse.
Well, and he's been married a long time.
Yeah. But the 45-minute walk thing, that's a great idea.
It is. That's detachment.
Like, how many times do I get overwhelmed or upset or feel anxious? And if I just took 45 minutes, I'm going to waste that 45 minutes anyway, sitting at my desk thinking
ruminating.
About it. Yeah, just being pissed.
Yeah, or trying to noodle it out when it's like, oh, it's not a big problem.
Yeah.
Man, that's good, man. Dude, Tucker is blowing up.
He really is.
I don't know if it's. All the interviews he's having, all the interviews he's on with other people now.
Yeah, he's really awesome,
crushing it.
Yeah,
some of the stuff I don't buy. You know, some of the stuff I'm not like on. I'm not on board with some of it, but some of them I'm like, oh, that's pretty good. We're getting off subject, but the whole Putin interview, I was like, man, this is great. But then the grocery store thing, I was like, God, that's kind of weird. You don't think that Putin kind of made the whole thing look really nice? I mean, come on.
Well, sure he did.
Yeah, but he wasn't. It didn't seem like he was intellectually honest about that. But whatever.
He is still part of the media.
Yeah. Well,
and so he's got. And so I think in life, typically we have an agenda. I mean, we're all driven by some kind of agenda.
Yeah.
And I think maybe he's fallen into that a little bit. He's probably got some agenda he's wanting to push. Whatever.
Did you listen to the Rex Friedman podcast with him?
No.
Yeah, so he was talking to Lex. Did I say Rex?
Rex.
Yeah, I said Lex. Yeah. I mean, I said Rex. I meant Lex. Also, black belt.
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu. And judo, I think, too. Speaks fluent Russian. He's from Russia. And he's got a PhD in some sort of science thing.
We should start wearing black suits. In the studio.
Look, I'll wear a black suit when I get a black belt. How about that? That's going to be a while. It'll be a different size than what I'm wearing right now.
Yeah, I'm probably not getting there.
Yeah, I'm probably not either. But either way, Lex was actually, I mean, he's polite. Lex is always polite, but he did ask him the question, like, hey, what was that thing? You know, what do you think about the supermarket? Didn't it seem like, he's like, and he did say, look, I'm just tired of all of our once great cities being crappy. You know, Chicago used to be nice. Now we got people like carjacking right in the middle of the street in broad daylight. He's like, you know, people can just come and loot through all of the downtown, like that magic or miracle mile, whatever it is, and he's like lived in and around DC his whole life. He's like, it's terrible. He's like, New York's terrible. San Francisco, don't get me started. I was like, it's kind of a good point, but I feel like you could have done he probably could have said that without going, hey, look how great Moscow is. We all kind of know why and how. Oh, look at the subways. And he did say, hey, look, subways everywhere are terrible in America. And these are all nice, They've got chandeliers and they're playing classical music. And I'm like, yeah, well.
You can get stuff.
They'll shoot you in the middle of the subway if
when
you're
you can
not right.
beat people.
Yeah, shoot them.
Shoot them.
Yeah. Sorry, you're dead. Oh, you're a political rival. Well, let's just go ahead and put a black bag over your head and take you out to the gulags until, oh my God, he died under... Yeah, don't know what happened. We're just all going to be okay with it.
Yeah, I'm going to sweep if I think I'm going to die.
I'm picking up my trash. I'm not going to sleep there either.
No.
Okay, we got off detachment. Speaking of detachment, we detached.
We just detached for a moment,
bit.
which is fine.
I guess
ADD took over.
We lost probably half of our listeners.
No, they didn't. They loved the Moscow.
My wife loves a Moscow Mule, by the way. But okay, so detachment. There are lots of other benefits of detachment. I'm trying to stay in business, right? So we talked about the business of business, essentially, where we're talking about once a month. Having like a financial meeting. Maybe you've got to do that with someone else that is even more detached, that can ask you questions about your numbers.
Like an accountant. If
you
don't have a financial people in your business, hire one.
Yeah, I mean...
Go meet with them.
Look, you should probably meet with someone like Johnny Barranco once a quarter and let them ask questions.
Yeah.
What is this right there? And here's one thing. If you've got anything on your P&L or your balance sheet that says other, it's like a honing beacon for someone that's got some financial acuity. They'll go, what is that? Because that just, it accidentally gets there and QuickBooks just goes, other, So
I was just talking with someone this week that small business thought they could not afford an accountant, used an accountant for the first time. They saved immediately $5,000.
Oh, wow. So you can't afford not to.
Can't afford not to. Don't try to do your own taxes.
Yeah, come on, man.
If you're running a business,
come on.
Do not do it.
Yeah, don't do that.
You're missing something. I promise you are. You're not as smart as you think.
Well... You might be. We are not. I am not.
I've met very few people.
Yeah, you might be, but it's still not a good idea because that's what they do all the time.
I've got an accounting degree.
Yeah.
I still have missed stuff.
I like, I think the whole accounting, the tax code is designed to keep you from doing your taxes and doing a good job with it.
Yeah.
It's something like 1,500 pages,
Yeah, it's
And there's new stuff all the time.
Yeah.
So sitting with someone and allowing them to look at your books is a great form of detachment of the business of business aspect. It forces you to sort of expose the performance of your business to the sunlight of someone else. You know what I'm saying? They can spot a flashlight onto your books and highlight some areas that don't look right and just ask you questions where then you have to answer and you learn in the process. That's how you become better at looking at financials and interpreting them, because it's a thing. You got to learn how to do that.
You know what I think? Mistakes I made when I was early in business was I find that when you first start out, you're an island and you have nobody to push back on you about business because you're doing everything. You almost need the detachment of sitting with someone and just letting them ask you questions.
Yeah.
Hey, why are you doing this? Why are you categorizing that expense here?
Yeah.
Why are you buying this from this supplier?
Mm-hmm.
You know? So I think a lot of times we're islands when we first start businesses because no one really understands what we do and we're struggling to pay bills and so there's no one. And so if you're not going to pay someone, find a mentor group or something that you can join, that people that can ask you questions and push back on you that are smarter than you.
Yeah. I also think that I think a lot of times people will start a business because they want the freedom of it, and really freedom with no guardrails or barriers isn't freedom, it's chaos.
Yeah.
It's anarchy, right? And so guardrails, discipline actually creates freedom. So if I've got guardrails and discipline imposed by knowing that I'm going to sit with someone once a month, once a quarter, whatever, and they're going to ask questions, then I'm going to look and get answers, and then we're going to come up with what the goal is that I'm trying to get to. It's going to put a box around what I can spend and what I'm going to do and force me to focus on the performance of the business. So no, I can't run my business like my personal checkbook. No, I can't go ahead and buy that Corvette and call it a work vehicle just for that. It's going to drain all the cash I have. You know, I've got to actually make a better decision and not justify all my decisions internally to myself, you know, because I will justify all kinds of things. But if I'm going to have to show it to someone else, I know they're going to ask questions. I already know what the question is, and the answer is not going to be good. And I mean, they're not going to be mad. They're just going to be disappointed.
The word chaos, I've been thinking on a lot lately.
Okay. You hate chaos.
I do. But I found myself looking back over the last few years thinking, man, I made some major decisions that went wrong. Why? And I came to the conclusion that I'd been living in some form of chaos. Business-wise, personally, family. And it was the root cause. I can point to that chaos and say, that's why I made that mistake. And so when we're doing everything, or when we feel like we're doing everything, and when we feel like we probably need to step back and say, are we in chaos? And I think detachment is a good thing for that. And I've not had an opportunity to really detach in the areas I'm talking about, but it would have probably been really good and saved me a lot of pain and money had I done that in those areas. And I call myself a person that detaches quite often, but if I look at the areas specifically that I'm talking about, I didn't do it in those areas.
We talk about business a good bit. Perhaps we should take care of some business of our own.
Sid and Keith, when I was on your podcast, I shared my story of how I was $250,000 in debt, and then how I turned my business around and grew it into a highly profitable multi-million-dollar lawn and landscape business. I'm Steve Bousquet, and we've created a program consisting of courses and coaching that guide people through the process and tools I use to turn my business around and grow it into a highly profitable multi-million-dollar lawn and landscape business. You can find out more how I did this by visiting greenprofitacademy.com or by going to Amazon and buying our book, Profit First for Lawn Care and Landscape Businesses, right on Amazon.
Hey there, listeners. I want to give a shout out to a friend and sponsor of ours, Chris Drogmiller from CMD Fencing. Let me tell you, I've had the pleasure of working with Chris personally over the last 3 or 4 years, and I've never encountered a fence contractor who excels in communication, craftsmanship, and timeliness like he does. Chris always delivers. I mean it. Fair prices, top-notch work, always on budget, and the best part for me, always on time. So if you're in need of a fence company to help you with a fence or any other outdoor wooden structure, give Chris a call. You won't be disappointed. Get in touch with Chris and let him and his team take care of all your fencing needs. CMD Fencing. We're talking about the business of business was, you know, having that financial review or whatever. And then all of the great benefits that come from that. And then we sort of ended it with the disciplines of, having to speak with someone and having a goal and maybe an accountability buddy or whatever. The other form of detachment is, and let's just stick with business, and obviously there's overlaps there too, and family, friends, and all that stuff. But detachment when it comes to, if you're leading an organization and there's people involved, you've got team members, or you've got maybe you've got what do you call them? Contractors.
Yeah.
If you don't stay as the leader detached, you're going to get sucked into the chaos, which is exactly what I was calling it, the chaos of the day-to-day, where everything feels like a big deal. Everything feels like it needs a knee-jerk reaction. Everything feels like that there is, a 5-alarm fire. I don't really know what that means, actually. I just said 5-alarm fire. Is it 4, 5? I don't know.
I think it has something to do with the firehouse.
Right. It's a firehouse, but there's 5 firehouses that I don't understand. Never mind.
Maybe 5. Yeah.
But
it
you
has
get what I'm
something
saying.
to do with the firehouse because I've watched enough of the Las Vegas fire or whatever it is.
Oh, have you?
Chicago fire.
That sounds
Yeah,
like
so
one.
Stephanie likes Chicago fire.
Chicago fire.
So I've watched some of that.
I like firehouse subs.
I like firehouse subs.
They're great. The meatball sub is good.
Yep.
The engineer. Oh,
Yeah.
I know what I mean.
The Italian.
Oh, yeah. 5-alarm fire. So they, it feels like it's a big deal.
Hey, we have some firemen that tell us
We do.
in our comments.
We do actually.
Yeah. Tell us in our comments or something what a 5-alarm fire means.
Yeah, and don't give me a hard time. I just don't know what that is. I've heard it, and I was about to say it, and I was just being honest on air. I don't really know what that means. But to the point of detachment, that it's kind of important. It's kind of important. And I will say this. This is kind of a luxury if you get to a point where you're not in the middle of everything all the time, and you've got people that you have delegated things to, and good people that care a lot. You're going to see a lot more big deals, start to bubble up, that unless you're detached, you're going to react to them as if they're big deals. And if you're listening to the podcast and you didn't see me put the quotations up, it's not a big deal. If you can be detached, and that's kind of the genesis of this whole podcast today was I was out of the country, I was pretty detached, disconnected from internet and all of that, and really just got information every once in a while when I could. And when I came back, I could sort of see things that, like, everyone's running around and they think this thing's a big deal and that's a big deal, and it really isn't, Well, it is, but it's not a 5-alarm fire,
And hey, you control freaks that want to be involved in every aspect of your business. You don't have a business, you have a job.
You have a job. It's going to be real tough.
And hey, if you want a job, that's fine.
It is. It is fine.
If that's where you want it to stay, but your goal in being an entrepreneur and business owner is to delegate other people and to bring other people into your business so you can have the ability to detach and lead. You can't lead in the middle all the time.
Well, I thought you were going to say it, but I'll say it. You can have growth or you can have control, but you can't have both. So if you want to grow and develop your people, if you want to grow and develop your company, if you want to grow and develop yourself, you're going to have to delegate and elevate.
Yeah. And so I've talked to several people lately that said, hey, Keith, I just want to be me. I want my organization.
That's perfectly fine.
Dude, you got a job. You just
Mike
get to control
McAllowitz
it.
talks to those people all the time, lots of times in his books. Yeah.
And that is totally cool if you want to do that.
Yeah, we're not dogging you out.
But I would just speak from experience. I'm not smart enough to do that, for one, because there's so many aspects of what I do that I can't do it all. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not smart enough to do it all.
Yeah, what I do is not as smart, but I just don't want it to be all me. That seems incredibly fragile, because what if I get sick? What if I get hurt? What if, it doesn't seem like long-term planning. It doesn't seem very strategic, and it doesn't seem as fulfilling to me, but that's kind of how I'm wired and who I'm wired. If I'm moving in a direction of what I'm built to do, and I'm leaning into that, I'm built to build teams and build people and grow people, that kind of stuff. But detachment from the group that is working for you is super important, because if you're going to lead, someone's got to be able to lift their head up from the fray, look out, see the big picture, and then say, oh yeah, this is where we're headed. Why don't we go and do this? We got to make a decision. Why don't we do this? And that's what we're going to do. It's not that big of a deal. Let's just move in that direction. And it actually causes you to go move in that direction much faster instead of bickering back and forth. And really what I'm looking for, not bickering back and forth, but just constantly shifting directions with knee-jerk reactions. And we had a podcast not too long ago about slow to react. And this sort of ties in with that. Not sort of. It almost directly ties into that. But detachment is what's required to not react in a knee-jerk fashion.
Yeah, because when you stay in the chaos all the time,
man.
If you're in the middle, you ever been in the middle of chaos?
Oh, dude, all
you
the
just
time,
want to
man.
react.
Yeah.
You just want to.
Yeah. You ever been in a landscape business in the spring?
Yeah, I couldn't
imagine.
Yeah.
Dude, it is chaos. That's what it is. Yeah, it's tough. Whew. Let's say this. Let's go back to relationships. Let's talk about marriage. Let's talk about parenting. Let's whatever, have you ever, listener, Keith, whoever, have you stopped and thought? I know Keith has. We've had these discussions. What do I want my marriage to be like? I think people just they get married, they're in love. They start building a life together, kids come along, and then we lose track of what that marriage is. What's it supposed to be like? I can say with some I can say with some honesty that although I haven't, it hasn't been ideal always, I've done a pretty good job. My wife and I have done a pretty good job of making sure that we kind of detach enough on a regular enough basis. Maybe it's 3 times a year, maybe it's 4 times a year, where we're having not kind of discussions, but we're having discussions about what does our life look like? What are we trying to get to? What are we trying to do this year? What's 3 years? What's 5 years? What's 10 years? That kind of stuff. That's kind of how I'm wired. That's kind of how my business life has developed. And so I've overlapped that into my personal life. But I can say that it has paid dividends over the years, because once we started getting our finances and everything in one goal, once we started getting on the same page about what we want for our children and what those goals are, and they're not like, I want my child to go to Harvard. I don't care where they go to school. I want them. This is funny. Okay. This is kind of my thing. Number one, if you ask my kids, they might think you can't ask them because they'll think you're messing with them. But if someone else asks them, hey, what's the number one rule Dad has? Number one, know that there is a God and it's not you. That's it right there. Number 2, say yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, please and thank you.
Your kids are very good about that.
They're good about that. Say. And then the 3 is make your bed every day. That's it. That's what we're talking about right there. Everyone's got chores. There is something else bigger than you. So you don't get so wrapped up in being like self-centered, like you're the center of the universe. I mean, I do not want my kids to grow up like that, I want you to be respectful to elders and stuff like that, and respectful to other people. And I want you to play a part on the team. Everyone's got chores, and I start with and that's kind of where I go with make your bed kind of thing. And like, you've seen the whole chore function at our house,
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
You got to play a part, man. Yeah. We're a team. Everyone's got a part on the team. You may not like your part on the team. I'm sorry about that, but you're a rookie. You're 11. That's what you do. You unload the dishwasher. You make your bed. You feed the dog, and you clean up after that dog. Oh my God, that's terrible. But That's what they're like, whatever. But when they grow up, man, they're going to have those lessons.
Yeah, I know.
And this stuff comes from having a detached mindset just a little bit to get on the same page about what is it that we're trying to do and keep it simple. Here's another thing. If you're going to lead, rule number 1, be simple. Be easy to follow. I was like, man, we got to be easy. Easy for kids to follow. It's got to be the same thing for a 6-year-old and a 19-year-old. You know, they got to all be able to line up with that. Detachment, man. If you don't stop and do that, like, how do you come up with those ideas? You're just cruising through life without any real barometer of what success looks like and where direction are we trying to take them towards. And everyone's got like a fuzzy idea of what that is, but no one really like does the work to identify what it is because they're not detached enough. Sorry, I'm going off.
You are dripping the parental knowledge today.
Yeah.
We're going mainstream. Watch out.
Yeah, watch out.
You're going to be on The View tomorrow.
I am not. Those ladies would hate me. They're going to be like, you voted for Trump, didn't you? I'm not telling you who I voted for, but I didn't vote for this guy. But either way, detachment, man. I think it's a big deal.
No, it's super big deal.
You avoid groupthink, you know, when you detached. I'll tell you a story. How about this? So this is one that Jordan and I will talk about a good amount. Jordan, wife, by the way. When we were dating, right? I lived with a girl that worked in the same like station she was at. We were in Hawaii. We were both in the Coast Guard, whatever. And I was done having male roommates. They're just messy and whatever. I went through college with a bunch of male roommates, and it's a pain in the butt.
You've always been a clean freak.
Not a clean freak, but like.
I mean, but you're pretty organized.
I'm
like your
pretty
stuff,
organized.
Like, when we travel, you go to the hotel, you put the stuff in the drawer. You're the only person I've ever traveled with that uses the drawers.
I like the drawers.
Yeah, like that's
I like to be able to pull my stuff out and go, yep, that's what I'm doing. And
yeah,
but that's it's just who I am. But what were we doing? Oh yeah, there was a friend in our group that was really hating on another person, not a friend, whatever, this person. And I can't even remember exactly what it was, but I remember the feeling and I remember the lesson was that we allowed that person and that group to really start to dictate how we felt about someone else. And I never once stepped back and thought, wait a minute, this person's never done anything wrong to me. Huh. I never got detached enough to ask questions. I never had the courage to do that until later on. And I think Jordan and I had moved or whatever away from just on the other side of the island. But and it was like, oh my God, can't believe we ever thought that this person was bad. We didn't. That's detachment, you know. We just allowed ourselves to get sucked into groupthink and group hysteria. So weird. It's so weird. Okay, I'll go first, where I went and how I detached, and then you go second.
Gotcha.
Okay, so listeners, here's what I did. My wife is what would you call her? Like a masters athlete in
world champion is what I would call her.
Well, she hasn't won worlds yet, but she's won Pans twice.
Pan Am.
A two-time a Pan-American champion in Olympic lifting. And if you don't know what that is, this is how esoteric this is. There's 2 lifts they do. That's it. They do a snatch, which is you take the bar on the ground and in one movement, you pull it up and it's over your head, right? You can squat underneath it. It could just go straight over your head, whatever you're going to do. That's a snatch. Then there's a clean and jerk, which a clean, if you don't know what a clean is, you take the bar, your arms are your hands are a little more narrow. You bring it up and you get it into like what's called a front rack position. If you don't know what that is, I don't know how to explain it to you. Then you take it from the front rack position and you push that over your head. You can split jerk it. You can power jerk it. You can do whatever. But a jerk essentially is you push it up and the bar gets kind of, you really really what you do is you push it and you're pushing yourself under the bar. You catch it and then you stand it up. That's what she does. 2 lifts. Does it over and over all the time, all little things to kind of make that better. She flew to Costa Rica and I flew out there to meet her. She didn't have anyone with her, so I flew out to be the support and really to stand in place as a coach, right? And these people, these coaches, these weightlifting people, Keith, let me just tell you, you think jiu-jitsu people are wild? These people are wild. They're walking around with notepads, pens. Some of them had like spreadsheets that were already made out with highlighted notations on it. They're watching their athlete warm up and making like notes and stuff. It was wild. And so I don't know anything about it. I know enough about this stuff to know that I don't know anything about it. And I just sat back there and did whatever she told me to do. And I recorded, right?
Where in Costa Rica did you go?
San Jose, which is the capital.
Yep.
And I thought Costa Rica was this like highly developed country in Central America, right?
Right.
It's right below Nicaragua and right above Panama. But Costa Rica has this, in my mind, it had this, it had a context to it in my mind that it's like developed and, it's almost like a little California down there. It is not. They've got, I rented a car and drove, and that was wild. There's car lanes, but no one participates in those. They're just cars everywhere. And they've got medians, and so that's kind of the only thing that separates these cars sometimes. Like, it'd be 2 lanes, there'd be 3 cars wide, and a motorcycle passing you. It's crazy. And there's roundabouts everywhere, and those things are like, it's like a bullfight. You're just jumping out in front of something, hoping you don't get hit. If you don't, you're not moving anywhere, and there's 18 people behind you honking. It's wild. So we went there. It was fun. I got to be the supportive husband and pretend like I was a weightlifting coach.
I know I heard you on the social.
Yeah, I was just yelling things.
You should.
Yeah, I was just yell things, like pretend like they're cues for my athlete.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so that's where I went. Where are you going?
I'm also going to Costa Rica.
How odd is that?
A place
we didn't even
play at Nasara.
Nasara?
Yes, which
North,
is about.
Is that northeast?
It is. Yeah, kind of look. It's on the coast. It's right on the water.
Caribbean coast or Pacific coast? Right or left?
It is left.
Oh, left. So Pacific.
The Pacific.
Okay.
Yep. And so
there's probably some surfing over there.
Yeah, there's gonna
Pacific surf.
we have a day, I believe, of surfing, but that's not what we're going for.
Oh, okay.
I meant we're going with the church.
Oh, 3 Circle?
With about 20 students.
Okay.
So I have to drive a bus 4 hours.
Wait, you're driving the bus?
Yeah.
Oh, good Lord.
A van.
Oh my God.
4 hours. To Nasara.
You guys didn't fly into Liberia, huh?
No, I think that's the problem. We couldn't fly into Liberia for some reason.
Yeah.
And so we're flying into San Jose and driving there.
Okay.
And so it's going to be detachment, but with an element of, I don't think we're going to like mix cement. So
yeah,
it's going to be a different kind of detachment than the room that I saw you stay in.
So, wow. So the first,
but we're going to do good work. So
yeah,
that's good.
So what are you doing? What are you building?
We're going to build a house for a pastor.
There we go.
The start of a house, I believe.
The start of a house.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? The foundation?
Yeah, we're doing the foundation.
Or the footer? Or
yeah,
what?
I
don't know that I trust a footer that a bunch of kids, 20 kids or so.
Well, I think we're just going to be the help.
Okay. There we go. Okay.
And so, and I think it's
what's
more
the name of this town?
Nasara.
Nasara. Is that guy that comes to 3 Circle every once in a while?
No, he's in another place. So I don't know where he is.
Okay.
This is a church there that Three Circle has also partnered with. And undoubtedly Three Circle has helped them build the church, and now we're building a house for one of the pastors or something.
Okay.
And
Well,
so,
I think experiences like that can be detachment because, dude, you go there and you've been to other places. I have too, but like Nicaragua or whatever. This place reminds me of Nicaragua, you know, where it's just, there's places you're driving down the highway to get to that northwest coast where they're collecting rainwater off of their roof. And I'm assuming maybe they're doing that to wash clothes or I don't know if they're drinking it. I don't know, but you see it a lot. You know, people walking everywhere. And these villages are kind of far away, you know. People living in like scrap metal and stuff as walls and roofs that just threw it together for shelter.
oh yeah,
it will bring some perspective that I think is necessary because
well, good. My daughter's going.
Yeah,
she needs some perspective.
It's great for kids.
Yeah,
because I don't know that people realize how big of a lottery we won just being born here, and you get a real sense of gratitude for where you're from, where you live, and what you have when you go to another country and see what they've got, and they're happy.
I was at a conference.
They're so happy.
I was at a conference a couple of weeks ago, and the speaker said this, and it hit me like right in the chest. He said, "Those of you born in America, quit acting like you hit a triple. You were born on third."
Oh, yeah. Yeah, man, that's no lie. We were born on third base, that's for sure.
Yeah. He was like, quit acting like you hit a triple.
Yeah, even if you had like a little bit of a rough look, don't get me going. I don't know everyone's story, and maybe you had a real bad time. I don't know. But for the most part.
Yeah, we were all born on third.
Dude.
Yeah.
Dude, America is just so much beyond other countries. It's crazy.
And since we're talking about detachment, that's a way you can detach. That's what detachment should be too. Take a step back. Take a step back and just think about the blessings that you currently have been given.
Yeah. And that's where I was saying, like, it allows you to have real perspective.
Right.
It allows you to really truly see these people here don't have anything what we have. They're not bitching about Wi-Fi not working in their house so they can't stream the latest Netflix movie or whatever. They're not complaining about they don't have heavy cream for my black eye coffee.
Oh my God! Oh, thanks for the shot over here. I know.
You get what I'm saying. That was the only thing I could think of.
Yeah. But I actually can't wait to take all these students and them have spotty Wi-Fi.
Oh, spotty Wi-Fi.
It's going to be great.
Zero Wi-Fi where you're at.
It's going to be so great.
Zero Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Either way.
The fact that these little Snapchat fiends are not going to be able to keep their streaks. It's going to be so great.
There's a streak?
Oh, yeah. That's why Snapchat's so, like...
Oh, that's
They
brilliant.
do a streak. So you keep this streak day to day, and if you don't snap that person, you lose your streak.
Is that the, what's it called? 4 or something? They do it at 4 o'clock? I don't know.
Yeah.
Either way, yeah, so getting away and seeing other countries and seeing other civilizations, is that the right? Other places, God, I don't know. Other cultures really does give you real perspective. And for the most part, it should give us all gratitude because these people don't have many of the things that we have, and they're super happy. They're just happy people. Maybe what they said in Fight Club, top 5 best movies ever, is that, you get so caught up in acquiring stuff and owning stuff that one day the stuff owns you.
Yep.
Maybe that's what happens. So detachment, you're going to get detached going out there.
Sid, you say numbers are the language of business. We probably should take care of business.
Listen up.
Hey guys, I want to tell you about my friend Wes Cody. He's the president of C2 Wealth Strategies, a financial advisory firm dedicated to providing personalized solutions for your financial needs. Wes and his team of professionals are passionate about helping clients create wealth and achieve financial freedom. At C2 Wealth Strategies, they believe in taking a holistic approach to financial planning and are committed to building long-lasting relationships with their clients, ensuring their financial well-being every step of the way. Don't leave your financial future to chance. Contact Wes and C2 Wealth today at c2wealth.com to schedule a consultation. Let Wes and his team help you build your financial future.
Guys, I want to take a moment to talk about someone who's been instrumental in my personal and business success. That's Johnny Barranco and his team at Barranco & Associates. For over 7 years, Johnny has been my go-to accountant and financial consultant. I can tell you that he's more than just a tax preparer. Johnny takes a holistic approach to all my financial dealings, aligning them with my long-term plans and personal lifestyle. I've recommended Johnny to several friends throughout different business groups around the country, and the feedback has been nothing short of exceptional. His expertise and service are top-notch. So if you're looking for someone who not only prepares your taxes, but also helps you strategize for the future, Johnny and his team at Barranco & Associates are the ones to call. Trust me, you won't regret it. So contact Johnny Barranco today and take the first steps towards financial peace. You're not going to regret this. You got anything else? Any questions? Any comments? Any nuggets of information? Or
Yeah, one of the things that we were talking about when we were planning this episode is that you detached, and we kind of said this, but I wanted to reiterate how important it is to support another person sometimes.
Yeah.
So maybe your detachment needs to be, hey, especially we as business owners, we live in this world where
And competitors.
it's all about us.
And competitors. How often are you and I and Scott and some other people going to a jiu-jitsu tournament?
Right.
And we I don't think that we're intentional about it, but we probably come across like we're so important going to do these things.
Yeah. So if you have someone in your life,
Yeah.
detach a little bit and go support their dreams, desires.
I do think it was important for me to just go and be a part of.
Totally
Just support.
so. Just be support. Sometimes it's good because you're the boss all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's good for you not to be the boss.
It really is.
Yeah.
And I was just,
Sometimes it's freeing to not be the boss.
I'll tell you, I didn't have to, there, zero jitters on my part.
Yeah.
Zero stress, nothing. I was just cracking jokes.
Yep.
And yeah, so it's good. And I was pretending to be a weightlifting coach.
So sometimes get out of your world and go get in somebody else's.
Maybe. Or be supportive.
Be supportive.
All right. There's detachment. Pretty good topic.
Yeah, we went an hour on this.
Did we?
Yeah.
Oh, well, there we go. Hey, we still got some T-shirts. We just found them, actually.
Yeah, we just remembered them this morning.
They've been hidden in my office. I think Keith was, or I was asking where they are, and it turns out they're in my office. And we didn't do a very good job about promoting them. They're actually really cool.
They're
and
a cool
that
t-shirt.
next level T-shirt.
Yep.
It's nice. It's got a nice logo. So hit us up if you want one. Let us know, and we'll give away another T-shirt in this episode if you mention just listen to episode 138 on if you message us directly through LinkedIn or Instagram. We'll give one away. And
That'd
then,
be great.
Yeah. And then maybe number 2 if it's not the same size.
Yep.
Who knows? Just message us. And if not, if you want to buy one, if you want to buy 10 for all your friends.
Yeah, quit being cheap. Just go buy it.
Yeah, quit being cheap. That's the way to get them to buy something.
That's it.
Yeah, you were so good at sales.
Been in it all my life.
I know, I can tell. Such a brilliant move.
Yeah.
All right, that's all I got. Thanks so much.
Yep. Peace.